Keith Tanner here from Flyin Miata, and today we're going to talk about how to make your Miata feel less slow. Fun topic, honestly, because as we know, the Miata is not necessarily out of the box the fastest car in the world. So what can we do to make it seem a little less not fast? That's what we're going to talk about today. If you do enjoy this sort of content, make sure to subscribe to our channel, make sure to like our videos, make sure to subscribe. That'll make sure you find out about these videos before they happen, so you can comment live and we can be part of the discussion. And also it helps more people find out about Flyin Miata's video series. We do a new video at least once a week, and there's a whole bunch coming in the next week and a half or so. So settle down for that one. So Miatas are not the fastest cars in the world in stock form. We know that. Certainly not in a straight line. They never have been. The original 1990s had a respectable 0-60 time of under 10 seconds, which at the time was pretty darn good. The newest ones have a 0-60 time of, I think it's somewhere between 6 and 7, which is still good for the time, but it's not going to scare Corvettes. It's not going to scare Camaros. It's not going to scare Teslas. So we have to find our joy in other ways. So, we are a performance shop, so we do have some solutions for that. We do, of course, have turbochargers for most generations of Miata. We have a turbocharger for the NC Miata that you will be seeing very, very soon for sale. So that is one option, is to actually throw more horsepower at the car. That's a way to actually make your not fast Miata more legitimately fast. It's still not going to challenge a Hellcat unless you do a whole lot more work, but it is a way to get rid of that sort of stigma. Another way to do it is do more stuff that the Miata is really good at. And for example, autocross. Do more autocross. You will discover how quick even a stock 1.6 Miata can be through the cones and embarrass lots of very high speed, very high power equipment doing it. So in that environment, a Miata is actually legitimately fast. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about ways to make the car feel quicker. The Miatas are a big part of the love of these things is the experience they bring to the table. How they feel when you're driving them, how they talk to you, that sort of thing. So we're going to talk about how to maximize that and make your car feel quick without necessarily making it crazy fast. Do you have any questions over there yet, guys? I didn't think so. There's nothing really to have questions about yet. So this is mostly going to be about feel and perception, and Mazda has known this from the start. The original Miata, when it was introduced, Mazda used as much error in the speedometer as they were legally allowed to do. The speedometer is optimistic to the fullest extent allowed by law, and that's just to increase the sensation of speed. One of the reasons that the ND rolls the way it does is, again, to add some of that feeling of speed to the car, to give more drivers feedback. I believe it's one of the reasons why they have this high point on the hood too, so you can see that rising and falling as you go around the corners. Mazda has always kept this in mind when they're designing the car. But I'm going to break this down into 3 basic areas, and that is the noise, the feedback, and the response. So those are the three general areas where you can make your car feel quicker, and we'll talk about how to get there, how to do it. The noise is easy. One of the most popular things to do to your Miata is to stick an exhaust system on it. You might pick up 5 horsepower and you convince yourself that you're doing it because of all the power gains, but really you're doing it because it sounds more fun. It gives your car a better voice. It gives it more response to what you're actually doing. You can hear what's going on with the engine. It's one of the big complaints people have about EVs, that they're soulless, and that's mostly because they don't have the same sort of engine noise as an internal combustion engine. They've got cool noises of their own, but we're talking about internal combustions here, so we'll talk about that. All the bangs and pops and farts and all the noises that the exhausts make. You might not want that noise all the time, which is why we offer the Hush-O-Matic for the ND Miata, which actually is an active exhaust that lets you decide how much volume you want out of the exhaust at any given time, or how much throttle. But even on an earlier car without that sort of active exhaust, you can still find something that gives just the right sort of tone, just the right sort of sound, the right sort of experience when you are accelerating, even if you're not accelerating as hard maybe as you could be with more horsepower. Another place to get that sort of noise is also on the intake. I personally like this one on a street-driven car because it's much more dependent on load. It's possible when you're on the interstate, for example, with a car with a loud exhaust system, it'll start to wear on you after a while. Whereas a more open intake, generally you hear that when you're under load. I did that on my own. It's not in here right now in this lineup. But my own little 1990 daily driver that I use, I have put an intake system on it that basically gives me more intake noise under load because it sounds good. It gives a nice little growl, gives it more character, and then it hides away in the background when I'm not using it. The Randall Cowell intake, for example, is great for this because it moves the intake up close to the base of the windshield. We don't have one in the car here, but it moves the intake up effectively here on the other side of the firewall, which gives you a nice increase in interior noise or in intake noise. Mazda knows this. They did exactly that on the ND. I'm going to pop this open here. I can plan this one ahead, you can tell. Mazda actually added this noise tube to the ND, to the manual transmission cars. And the entire purpose of this thing is to bring a little more intake noise into the cabin. Some people will remove it because, it's kind of in the way you're trying to adjust your shocks. It's a little bit of extra stuff. It's a little goofy, but adds the experience. It's fun. So, noise, always a good one. The next one is feedback, and that is basically the car telling you what's going on, giving you information about what's going on at the contact surfaces, what's going on underneath the hood. Basically, it's the car talking back to you. And one of the biggest things you can do on that one is get a good alignment on the car. First thing we do on any car we bring in here, even a brand new ND3, we'll take it to the alignment shop and get the alignment set to our specs, which you can find on our website in the knowledge base section. They will take some of the slop out of the factory specifications. They will improve turn-in. They will improve steering feel, especially in the case of an ND, and especially in the early NDs, the ND1s, the soft-top cars from 2016 and 17. They've got sort of a dead spot in the middle of the steering. It gets much better when you throw in a good alignment on that one. So that feedback will make the car feel much quicker because you'll feel more in tune with what's going on. You'll get more information through the steering. And it's an easy thing to do. We recommend it. Our local Firestone shop offers lifetime alignments, which they are probably regretting because, of course, most of these cars have lifetime alignments, subscriptions, and they get to know these cars fairly well. Other things you can do for feedback, and this is kind of an odd one, but on an older car, you can look at changing out the bushings. One of the reasons the cars start feeling old is they get rattly. The bushings start wearing, and basically control arms, the suspension starts moving more independently of the body. It moves in directions it's not supposed to. And a lot of the old feeling of a car comes from worn out bushings. So putting on a set of new bushings will not necessarily increase harshness, but it will make the car move over the road more fluidly. It will give you more feedback on what's going on because the information from the tires are not being lost in a bunch of slop into things. It's a high effort to install, but definitely well worth it, and it makes a big difference in terms of making an old car feel like a new car again. Tire choice has a big effect here as well, in terms of how much feedback you get back. If you're running around on a 1990 on the 14-inch wheels with a 185 60/14 with a sidewall about that high, and because there's very few tire options available these days, you're running some 800 tread wear all season, you're not getting anything from those tread patches. Contact patches. So going with, say, a slightly lower profile tire, a 15-inch wheel, with a little bit less sidewall, maybe a slightly more aggressive tire with a little more stiffness on the sidewall, that will improve the feedback quite a bit. The other place where you get feedback is from you in the car and the stuff you touch. So even something as simple as changing out a shift knob will make your car feel quicker because every time you touch it, you get that mechanical feedback from the car. You get that mechanical feel of actually moving gears around in the transmission. These cars all have very direct shifters. The shifters are right in there manipulating the shift rods directly, unlike a cable operated transmission or a rod operated transmission where the actual shifter is a long way from the transmission itself. You're right in there, you're moving the guts around, and a nice shifter will help you feel that. Again, it's not going to improve your time around Laguna Seca, but that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about the feedback you get from the car, the feeling, the experience you get of driving the car. Before I get on to response, do we have any questions over there? And do we have any opinions over there? I got a couple opinions. Good. I'm hoping there will be opinions. Now, the third category I talked about was response, and that is basically the speed at which the car carries out your instructions, because that's a big part about making a car feel quick. I remember years ago when they were new, I drove an FD, a third generation RX-7, 95 or something like that, and I took it out in the street, and I was driving it around and going, it's a very, very fast car, but it's not a quick car. Not the way that my Miata was a quick car in terms of my Miata was set up. It was doing a lot of autocross at the time. It was very responsive. It reacted extremely quickly to everything I did. and the RX-7 didn't have it. It was crazy fast, but it didn't have that immediate feel that I got out of the Miata. So that's what I was looking for, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So there's a few places where you can get that response. Let's talk about the powertrain first. The easiest way to get better response out of your powertrain is a lightweight flywheel. And that basically the flywheel, that's the inertia in the engine, its resistance to changing speeds. You do want a certain amount of flywheel weight in a car because that's what keeps the engine from shaking itself apart at idle or even being able to idle. But it's often manufacturers will go with a heavier flywheel to make the car feel easier to drive, to make it feel smoother. And if we go a little bit lighter on that, we can add some quickness to the response to the throttle. It's the easiest way to do it. It's a bolt-on. If you're doing a clutch, it's right there in your face anyway. So that's a great way to improve the response of the car without going to a lot of effort or expense. Next step, we start going into things like increasing the compression ratio. Say doing a head shave on an earlier car. You're not going to want to increase the compression ratio on ND, but on the earlier cars, you do a head shave, bump the compression up by a point or two. That can have a big effect on throttle response. And of course, the extreme version of that is to go with individual throttle bodies. High effort, high noise, which is, hey, noise is fun. We were talking about that. Very, very quick response. Like I said, high effort, but that is the ultimate expression of trying to get the maximum response out of your drivetrain. I once had a lightweight sports car, a Lotus 7 replica that ran a Miata drivetrain. And it was a drivetrain I had run in my own Miata in the past. And one time I drove up to work and they thought there was a sport bike outside because of the way that every time I blipped the throttle, it would respond so quickly. It was just boop. That's the sort of thing you're looking for. Cams have an effect in there as well. They're a little bit harder to judge. But basically, once you get past the flywheel and maybe some intake stuff, it's hard to get a lot of improvement on response from the engine. So you do what you can. Now, 1.6 owners, I'm sure Ethan is watching this right now and has something to say about this. 1.6 owners, the cams on those cars are already designed to be a little more responsive, a little more rewarding at the high end than the 1.8 cars are. So 1.6 owners, you have the least powerful Miatas ever made, but you also have a very fun engine under there because of the cam choice. So now we also talk about response from the suspension, and this is where the Miata really shines, of course. This has always been its party trick, is it's just got great suspension, fantastic handling, very quick reflexes, and we can turn that up even further. Instead of spending a whole bunch of money trying to make a Miata do something it doesn't do inherently, if we spend the money on the suspension, the effort on the suspension, we can improve what it's really good at and end up with a car that's fantastic in those areas. Sway bars, that's the easy button for any Miata. They will increase the response rate of the Miata to anything you do with the steering wheel. You'll spend less time having the body moving, taking a new set. Even around town, you'll be able to feel just the improvement in how quickly the car turns in and how flat it corners. You'll notice that right away. And there's very few downsides to sway bars, so they are almost always our go-to for what is the first thing you do. A good suspension will help there as well. Generally more expensive there, but yes, having good shocks, good sway or good springs, well-chosen springs will go a long way to improving the feel of the car. This one I'm standing in front of right now, we are running a suspension that will be announced very shortly. It's a new one that we're evaluating. It's below the Fox Racing level of cost, a little bit more than our standard Coney stuff, but this suspension plus the set of sways has made this into an incredibly fun street car. I can't wait to show this one off to you and tell you about it. It's just sharpened the whole thing up without a big impact on ride quality. And I find myself taking the roundabout near my house at inadvisable speeds because of the suspension. It's really sharpened up. So getting the right spring shocks and sway bars on a car will go a long way. We're a big believer in our Coney FM spring sway bar setup in terms of a good all-around setup. That's what this car is on right now, and I think the one next to it. It's a setup that works. It gives good response. It's not a full-on racetrack setup, but that's okay because we're mostly talking about street cars here. If you want to know how to make your race car faster, that's a completely different video because at that point we're just racing the clock. We're talking about how to make it feel quicker here today. So we can accept a suspension that might not be the quickest thing around Laguna Seca, but it will be more comfortable to drive from Grand Junction, Colorado to Laguna Seca and home again when you're done. Another thing that is surprisingly a lot of people overlook is the size of the steering wheel. If you go to a slightly smaller steering wheel, you're going to find that you get quicker response because you don't have to move the steering wheel as far for the same number of degrees of rotation. Make sense? Think about, going a really small wheel. That's half a turn right there. I'm not moving my hands very far, quarter turn. Whereas with a big wheel, it's much, much more. So going with a slightly smaller wheel will actually have quite an effect on how responsive the car feels because everything happens much more quickly. And one other thing I'm going to warn you about, and I did an entire video on this called How Not to Ruin Your Street Miata, is you don't want to go too far. Uh, a good example of this is tires and suspension as well. I have in my garage, I have the Targa Miata, which is a race bred, rally bred, V8 powered monster of a car that is enormously fast around the racetrack, huge fun, but it's not as much fun on the street because it's got so much mechanical grip that you can't play with it. When I'm driving around the roads around here, I turn into a corner, it just digs in and just goes. There's absolutely no drama. In order for me to play with it, I've got to be going ridiculously quickly. Meanwhile, a car like this one on less dramatic wheels, less dramatic tires, and a softer suspension, a little more compliant suspension. It's got just the right amount of grip where I can get it sort of up on its toes. I can get it near the edge of slip angle, and have some fun with it without having to be going 300 miles an hour around my local neighborhood. So you do want to make sure when you're looking at things like tires, you don't necessarily want the latest and greatest 200 tread wear cheater tire that's totally going to win the SCCA stock class this year. You want something that will allow a little bit of give, a little bit of sidewall flex, because then you could feel it load up the tires a little bit, and something that will allow a little bit of slip, because that way you can actually play with it on the road. And that will feel quicker. I mean, if you're getting near limits of adhesion, you're going to feel like you're going a lot faster than a car that's just been stapled to the ground and doesn't want to move at all because it's got all the grip in the world. So keep that in mind. These are fun little playful cars. Don't go too far with it. When you're making your choices, don't, make sure you've got response, but not necessarily extreme ultimate performance, because that will not necessarily make it any more fun. We'll make it faster. And if you're, driving up and down the canyons and you're actually racing somebody, not necessarily a smart idea on public roads, but then at that point, maybe you start looking more like a race car where you're looking at absolute speed. But you're going to have more fun if you're by yourself, if you're just playing with the car and the road by itself. Do you have any questions back there, guys? Nothing. Well, look at that. So hopefully this has given you a few things to think about. If you've got any questions, if you want to know how to make your particular car, especially if it's a Miata, if you've got yourself a Xterra or something like this, we are not Xterra specialists. We're not good at this. But if you have a Miata, we would be happy to help you come up with a good recipe for your car that will make it feel as quick as it can, make it not feel slow, make it responsive, give it lots of feedback, make just the right noises. We'd be happy to help you out. You can contact us by phone, by email, by chat, through our website, through Facebook, through YouTube comments. If you can think of how to get through to us, we probably will be able to respond to you there. We'd be happy to help you out. And in the meantime, throw your ideas, suggestions, comments, opinions, factual or not, throw them in the comments. Let's see what other people think about this particular topic. In the meantime, my name is Keith Tanner. Thanks for your attention. Have a good day.